About a couple of quick things before we get into this video. If you missed yesterday's upload, we did announce that we are going to start streaming weekly Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. We're going to be talking about all of the major tour announcements and covering any other news and topics of interest. What you're about to watch now is going to be a clip from the stream that we did the other night, just going over some of my thoughts and opinions on Welcome to Rockville 2026. Since I didn't really give it a whole lot of extended coverage like I did with Sonic Temple, now that we are back into the swing of uploading, I'm going to start to try and get out at least 3 or 4 videos a week, a couple of which will be stream clips. We're going to be doing the tour roundup like we did at the start of stream. If you didn't catch that video from yesterday, again, go check that out. And like I said, that's going to be every Tuesday at 8 o'clock. I'm going to try and schedule a live stream ahead of time as well so you guys can follow that directly. But just make sure that you're subscribed with notifications on. That way you know when we go live. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into the main topic. Part of the reason, other than everything else that was going on, that I just wasn't super excited to talk about this is because I was a little bit underwhelmed at first. I had kind of a range of reactions to how I felt about this lineup when it got announced, and I wasn't in a position to make a video at the time anyway, but when this got kind of leaked, because I found out kind of a couple days beforehand, or I was reading that the speculation was it was 100% Foo Fighters. Like, that was pretty much confirmed and known that that was going to be the case, and I was like, okay, I'm not, like, against that. I don't, like, hate it, but it definitely didn't get me excited. They played a couple years ago. I like the Foo Fighters. Obviously, they are very well respected and long-term fixtures of the scene, but I just couldn't get myself excited for another round of Foo Fighters. I don't know why this is still open too. I just couldn't get myself super excited for it, so I was like a little bit kind of down at the time. But I'm gonna make this a little smaller too. But it wasn't like, for me, it wasn't like, okay, I'm not gonna go because of that. But the rest of the lineup kind of fell flat for me in a way too. I don't really know how I could explain it, but at the time, a lot of the bands that I was hoping would come over from Sonic Temple didn't, and I think that kind of put me in a little bit of a predisposed mood that I wasn't maybe necessarily being fair about. There were a few bands on here that I was really like hoping would carry over, and one of them was Yellowcard, so I was happy about that. One of them was Rise Against, so I was super happy about that. But some of the bands that I was hoping would carry over didn't, and that kind of was immediately like the mood that I was in. So like we didn't get The Used, which was one that I was looking forward to, and there was another one that really upset me, but I can't remember, or like had me in like kind of a down mood, but I can't remember what one it was. Because a lot of the other ones that I was like, I know Motion City Soundtrack, but I also kind of knew they weren't gonna play there because they're playing in Orlando, and it's gonna create they would create the like radio, they would like trigger radius calls. Oh, Megadeth was the other one, because I want to see Megadeth before they go away, and I don't even like Megadeth that much, but like I was like, man, that's like, this sucks. Like, we're not gonna get Megadeth, we're not gonna get The Used. Those are two of the ones I was really looking forward to hopefully seeing. A lot of the other ones, there's like a lot of crossover, which I kind of expected. Well, we got like most, if not like all of the main stage is like carryovers. And then it's kind of the same with the second stage as well. It's a lot of duplicates. There are some differences though. And I kind of mellowed out a little bit over time. But I think the thing that I kind of like didn't like so much was, or that like kind of put me a little bit back in like more of a down mood, was that like the way that this is kind of stacked up, I don't really like. I do like, and I've talked very positively about how they've made more of a conscious effort to kind of group bands together that I think would make sense together. The way that this is kind of stacked up, and what I'm going to do something that I normally hate, but I'm going to use Reddit. And the reason I'm going to use Reddit is because there's a fake schedule like that somebody made. So this, I will say, is going to be slightly even less accurate than normal, because Guns N' Roses is going to play for 3 hours or 2.5 hours at least. And the reason that I can say that is because I'm going to pull up the Welcome to Rockville 2022 schedule, original schedule. So this year there was a lot of rain. There was a lot of fucking rain. and two of the dates were basically completely lost. Saturday being one of them, which was when Guns N' Roses was supposed to play. I saw one band on Saturday, and then it was immediately. No man, what shows I go to? You're letting me down right now. I saw one band, and it was immediately like called off after that, because this is what on Friday. This is kind of what happened on Friday. So on Friday, I got there, and you can see how far this festival has come, because this is 2022, which is not even 4 full years ago, and there was like not even a big band playing until like 4:30. Like, although I guess Giovanni and the Hired Guns was kind of big at the time, but like this is the state of things how they were back then. So 2022, Seven Dust was playing when I got there. I walked in, and I like started walking over to Skillet, and as I was walking over, it was like pouring down rain, and they opened the grandstand, which was the first time they'd ever opened the grandstand. This was like 5:30 probably. So it rains, it's lightning. They end up sheltering for like probably an hour and a half, and then we go back out, and I watch Seether. I think, can't remember. I think I watched Seether. And then Megadeth had canceled. So Ministry was going to start playing. I think Ministry played like 2 songs. I was waiting for Breaking Benjamin, because I'd still at that point never seen Breaking Benjamin, and that was like one of the whole reasons I went to this weekend, because I originally like really wasn't planning on going back. I was really like the first year I went was really only to see Metallica. Like I was happy to see everybody else too, but like the main reason was to see Metallica, and I wasn't sold necessarily on I wasn't like immediately gonna go back. But then I saw 2022s, and I was like, I have to see Nine Inch Nails, I have to see Breaking Benjamin. Those are like the 2 like main artists. I just closed that on accident. No, I got like looking at this lineup now. Oh, Papa Roach was another one. I really wanted to see Papa Roach. I didn't see Papa Roach yet. But it was like Papa Roach, Breaking Benjamin, Nine Inch Nails, and then like the rest of them was like, I like a lot of these bands. Like Smashing Pumpkins is one of my favorite bands ever. I hadn't seen Rise Against either, but like this was gonna knock out a lot of bands I still hadn't seen at that time that I really wanted to see. So I was like, okay, once I saw this full lineup, I was like, I'm in. I'm going. Definitely gonna make it happen. But like I was like devastated when Breaking Benjamin got canceled. I was more devastated the next night, because I went, and after having dealt with that same thing, it was literally deja vu. They had canceled, I think, almost all of this. This all got canceled. I didn't show up until about the same exact time, pretty much, and saw like the beginning of Jerry Cantrell, which they had just come out of a weather warning for, and like Jerry Cantrell started playing like 15 minutes probably after the gates had opened back up, and then like Jerry Cantrell's playing, and then they go like into another weather warning in the middle of one of the songs. Like Man in the Box, he's like getting ready to play the solo of Man in the Box, and gets cut off. Like it was really unfortunate. It waited. They actually did come back out, and Shinedown started play like 2 or 3 songs, and that was it. I was over at Guns. I was trying to get a good spot for Guns. This wasn't the schedule that they followed, though. Shinedown, I think, was playing around like 9:30, and then Guns N' Roses, I think, was supposed to play like an hour or an hour and a half. So, I mean, ultimately, it probably worked out. I mean, or alternatively, you know, it's Guns N' Roses. They probably would have played till like 2 in the morning and just paid the fucking fine or whatever. But that was that. I wonder. I actually think if I go on my phone, I'm gonna see. They might have. I might still have the pictures of like the set times or whatever that were missing. I think I might have added them to my folder. If I did, they're actually, if they're in my iCloud, I can pull them up there. Doesn't look like I saved it though, or actually might have. They might be in my library. I might just not have put them in the album, because I know I definitely saved them. I have too much stuff saved too. Let's see. This is in May. Oh, I'm in March. May. Night one. Everything was good night one. Well, I know they posted them. I might have deleted them, or I might have never even saved them. I might have just seen them on like their social media or whatever. But they did. They had updated set times once upon a time. Because I remember seeing like Guns N' Roses only gonna play like an hour and a half. Like Shine only gonna play like 40 minutes. I mean, I admire it. The similar thing kind of happened, which I know I do. I know I have a picture of this. Was in 2023. Which was probably like my least favorite year of going that wasn't impacted by weather. But in 23, there was like a massive thunderstorm. Like right before I got there. I gotta sneeze again real quick. There was a massive thunderstorm like as I was getting there, and I ended up missing Bullet because they had like the whole place closed. And then I can't remember who was supposed to play originally in 9 and 850. Oh, it was Queens of the Stone Age. They were supposed to play, and they I think canceled like last minute because I don't remember if that was maybe during Josh Homme's divorce or whatever. But they had rescheduled everybody, so it was like Converge was playing the same time as Rob Zombie, who I had never seen Rob Zombie, so I wanted to see Rob Zombie. And then I remember everyone was mad at Suicidal Tendencies and Slipknot ended up playing at the same time. That was a fun night, even though I was really mad that I missed Bullet. And you can kind of see right here. This was, let me flip this. This is what they kind of put out. They had like updated the set times. As you can see, not really, but yeah, the light's in the way. But they updated the set times. They like rescheduled everything so that they could put as many of the bands out. Trivium, I think, didn't like not play. They were supposed to play, but they salvaged the night, and I'm still really happy about that. This is back also when there was only 4 stages, which I just realized too. So, actually, I think this is I believe, only year in Daytona that they've only had 4 stages, because the first year they had another stage, the DW Presents stage, and they had bands playing at the same time as Metallica, like whoever like talent show winners were. So. I remember this is kind of weird to look at in retrospect, because then the very next year they added the stage. I believe they added the stage in 2023. This was also only four, so it must have been last year. But anyway, Guns N' Roses is gonna play 3 hours probably. So the way I kind of look at this when I look at this fake schedule is I kind of just combine these two, like sets, and this is like kind of my operating assumption, because can I zoom in or no? All right. We're gonna have to. We'll make it work, but I'm just looking down the list of potential conflicts. So, like for Thursday, I kind of have to do a little bit of mental gymnastics because I got to move. Like, okay, Fozzie's gonna play here instead of here. All that remains is gonna play here instead of here. So, either way, though, for me, Thursday, there's not really a whole lot of like conflicts necessarily because I don't really care about a lot of the main stage bands. At least on Thursday and Friday, it's not, honestly, on Thursday and Friday, I'm not really interested in a lot of the groups. Like, I think that the way they stack the schedule for me, like, it really ended favorably more for like the end of the week. Like Friday to me, I think there's like 5 bands I want to see. Like, I don't even know if it's 5. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing The Offspring. I've seen them already. I would like the same pretty much thing with Foo Fighters. These are kind of both in the same category. Poppy's fun. Poppy's cool. Everyone says check out The Warning, and I probably will. Turnstile I'm not super into. I think they're fine, but I'll probably try and get into them a little bit more. Parkway Drive I've never really liked that much. Hollywood Undead's whatever. Tom Morello is also kind of whatever. Sick Puppies doesn't have their original singer. I don't really care about anybody on this stage other than like maybe Lorna Shore and Chelsea Grin. Zach Sabbath is like cool, but whatever. Like, I don't really care. And I don't listen to a lot of this like heavier. I don't listen to a lot of this type of metal. So, and then this like Seven Dust Static X stage is cool, but it's a lot of like, retreads without original singers and bands that like only have a couple songs I really care for. So, like Friday's hype level for me is like pretty low. I'm not really like that excited. The only thing that I really like, the only thing I kind of like about Thursday. I mean, I want to see Guns N' Roses. I've never seen Guns N' Roses. Everybody says they suck live, but it doesn't matter. Like, it's just like I want to see Guns N' Roses. I've never seen Guns N' Roses, but I want to see Death Clock. I like some of these bands in here. I would like to see Amon Amarth just to like kind of say I've seen them, and then like I love Story of the Year, which is cool because the time that they play, if this is accurate, which it might not be, because there's also an extra band playing on this stage next year, which throws things a little bit off because I think ultimately this stage is going to end up playing kind of later at night. And I think like Mayday Parade's probably going to play. Well, actually, they're playing 50 minutes on here, so this might be accurate. But Amberlynn, I like 4 Year Strong also. I love Census Fail. Like, this is cool earlier in the day. And then some of these bands, they got a couple songs that I mess with. But I love Story of the Year. I've seen them a few times, but I'll always catch them. Death Clock versus Mayday Parade for me. I've seen Mayday Parade a few times, so I'll probably see Death Clock. But I actually think I've only seen Mayday. I think I've actually only seen Mayday Parade once. I think I was trying to see them at Warped this year, and it just didn't happen. But as far as this day, like I would like to see All That Remains too. So like tentatively, I would say like I'd try to see like All That Remains. Probably Amberlynn, Census Fail. There's a gap in there, but I'd like to see Jason Bonham too, but it just doesn't look like that's... Jason Bonham will be here, so maybe I'll see Jason Bonham. And then I kind of just don't have anything for a while, right? I'm on a Mars like 5 o'clock, or they'll be like 4 o'clock, so that's kind of cool. You can go see them after Census Fail. There will still be a gap, but I can figure it out. Or probably go into the grandstands and not be out in the baking hot sun for an hour, right? And then like Amon Amarth, like for the sake of this, like I said, I'm gonna pretend that they're playing at this Black Label Society slot. Alice Cooper playing here, probably watch that, and then Stained maybe. Yeah, I'm kind of iffy on that. I'll probably stick mostly to the garage stage, but. I'll check out some of these other bands too, but I definitely didn't I haven't deep dived anything as far as like the supporting artists like I try to do typically, because I like to look at this like slot times and figure out like, even without this actual like fake schedule that this person made, I like to just look here and know, okay, for the most part I know that this stage, like this third stage is going to be playing, like going to be finishing at the same time that the second stage is. So like in previous years, like when Evanescence was playing here in this slot and Sum 41 was here, I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to see Sum 41. One, because it was their farewell tour, but two, because I know that I like will have a gap where Evanescence is still playing and the headliner hasn't started on that stage, so I'll have time to actually work my way up in the crowd. Because the biggest issue for me, honestly, over everything else with attending music festivals is making it from the two main stages, or attending this festival specifically. Well, EDC's got just kind of the same problem, but it's like the physical amount of time that it takes to actually get from your main stage on one side to the main stage on the other is fucking crazy. But I will say, compared to like Warped, I like it way more that they're spaced out, because at Warped, when they're back to back, or even like in When We Were Young, when they're back to back, it's like impossible to navigate the crowd. Like it's like a death wish. Like that's one of the only instances like where I can understand people camping like all day. Like, because like for me, or like in my experience, like let's say on a day like Friday. Because I don't like want to see anybody else, I was just going to try and get close for Foo Fighters. Really, I can probably put that off like all the way until Poppy. Like if I don't really want to get like for first row, like in center, like I can probably get, I would say 6 or 7 rows back. That was not intentional, by the way. I could probably get like within the first 10 rows, or at least like, reasonably close, like pretty late in the day, because the amount of people who are going to be leaving from earlier performances going to do other shit, get a beer, anything like that. You don't have to camp out, I don't think, the entire day. Like, people at My Chemical Romance, and just knowing the fan base is the type of people that they attract, like, people at My Chemical Romance are going to get there when the doors open and be there, like, all day and be dehydrated. And it's going to be kind of pointless, because, to be honest, like, what they didn't do here is they didn't do, like, a great job of like splitting up like putting this, like All Time Low I will give them credit for, but like to me, like A Day to Remember Yellow Card would probably fit more with the type of fans that they like, and then you maybe, the problem is you don't have like a second stage headliner. Like I would maybe say Slaughter to Prevail probably could have closed the second stage, and then you have A Day to Remember here, and Rise Against is also here. I don't know, like obviously I don't book festivals, but like the type of audience for these groups is like all across the board. So like it's just gonna be, I don't know. I'm not gonna be a part of that because I'm gonna be fucking sprinting back and forth because I want to see all these bands. This like I've already thought about like so Saturday for me is super stacked too, but like Sunday is like the last like 4 hours are gonna be like a marathon, like because. And even that, it actually really starts before that because, like, I want to see all 3 of these bands on this stage and all 4 of these bands, or really 5. Under Oath, I'm like, whatever. And then I really would like to see Whitechapel. I just don't think it's gonna work out. But I will go back to Thursday. I don't remember how I even got on this subject. But oh yeah, I was saying like I do this in generally without the fake schedule. So I'm like between the course of now and the actual festival itself, I'll check out a lot of these like lower billing groups that I'm not familiar with, or at least some of them, and decide kind of what I want to do based on that. Because like for me, I know like when we get to Saturday I'll talk about it, but like I'm not necessarily a massive fan of really a lot of these bands. I would like to see Lamb of God. I'd like to see Flyleaf. But like I've seen Simple Plan. I've seen to me they're not a band that I need to see multiple times or anything. Same with like Plain White Tees. I just saw them at Warped. I would like to see 303 again, but we'll get to that. Anyway, so like for Saturday or Thursday, I don't know how I said Saturday. For Thursday, it's kind of like this is like a light appetizer. I know like Guns N' Roses is gonna be super long. And play a lot of songs that are like 10 minutes. Going to sit through a really tough first part of the set list. So like, I might honestly, like if you look at a Guns N' Roses set list, if this is the one thing that I will say, I do like that Ice Nine Kills is on a side stage. I don't know why it's started typing Ice Nine Kills. I do like that Ice Nine Kills is on a side stage because this is like kind of my plan of attack, or my thought anyway, is with Guns N' Roses. The main stuff I'm interested in is much later in a typical set list. So, like, I'm trying to find what would work out the best for me for Guns N' Roses is there's a few songs I want to hear, and they're not songs that they play at every show, so that's what makes it hard. So, like, I want to see a lot of this stuff, and then I want to see Patience. So, like, they only played Patience 27 out of 44 times. I also want to see Better, but that's a lot less likely, I think. I want to see Better. I want to see Civil War. I want to see Don't Cry, which is a song they don't play a lot, and November Rain, and then like Sweet Child of Mine. I know they're going to play it every show. But like there's songs that they don't play at every show that I know I really want to see, and when they do play them, they play them all late. So I just closed that on accident. I want to do that. So... like looking here at let's just do Brazil. Okay. They play Welcome to Jungle early. Obviously that's like a big song, but like It's So Easy, Mr. Brownstone. I wouldn't mind seeing those songs. Even like Live and Let Die, I'm kind of like on. But I would like to see like from here on like 13, You Could Be Mine. Whenever they play that, like I would like to see Estranged, even though it's a fucking long song. That's what I'm really like now looking forward to. And then like this, whenever they play all their big stuff at the end, like this honestly, I did this completely accidentally. Would be a perfect set list because maybe I could go see Guns N' Roses at the beginning, but maybe I could see Ice Nine Kills if they're playing at 9:00. Get to catch another set, and I'm not as exhausted by the prospect of sitting through. Because like I have a friend I text about all these festival and concert announcements. And he was like, dude, Guns N' Roses Guns N' Roses are legendary. And I'm like, yeah, but they play for 3 hours. And then immediately the conversation shifts to how could you sit through all that? I'm like, I couldn't. I don't think I can. And I like Guns N' Roses, probably not as much as some people, but I like a lot of like, my Guns N' Roses relationship is like, I like Sweet Child of Mine. And I like I tolerate that. I don't hate like the other two big songs off Appetite, but like I'm a big time like Use Your Illusion person. Like all my favorite songs from them are like Use Your Illusion era. Like I just said, Don't Cry, Civil War, November Rain is like one of my favorite songs ever. But like Estranged, same thing. Like I love Patience too. Really like that song. So like in this case, like I could watch like skip the first hour of all this. I don't need to see like there's good songs in here, but I wouldn't hate missing any of them necessarily. See like You Could Be Mine, even and then get some songs I want to see here. Like I said, when I seen Estranged, Coma. I haven't heard Double Talk and Jive in a really long time, but I think I like that song too. And then Sweet Child, Civil War, November Rain, Patience, and then Don't Cry, and then I'll leave before the end. That would be perfect if I can beat some traffic. Although traffic leaving there ain't that bad. All right, so with all that in mind, Thursday is not a super high day on the hype meter, but there's still bands I want to see. Friday is the one that I'm struggling with more. I think this will generally be pretty accurate, although I don't think Turnstile played an hour 20. Who was playing before Green Day that played for an hour 20? Was it Pierce the Veil? No, Pierce the Veil played Saturday. Who played? Oh, this was Rob Zombie, wasn't it? I went to no, was this Good Charlotte? I can't remember now. I think this was, because Friday, I remember Friday, for some reason, I'm seemingly remembering like leaving Bullet or leaving Good Charlotte. No, leaving Good Charlotte. I can't remember now. Now I gotta look. This guy just pasted over last year's, which schedule. Yeah, I don't know why I can't type right now. Friday was Bullet. Okay, so this is what I did on. No, that's Thursday. Friday was Good Charlotte. Okay, so what I did was I went to Killswitch and saw like the few songs I wanted to see from Killswitch, and then I went over to Good Charlotte. So Good Charlotte played for an hour 20, which they didn't really need to. That was cool, I guess. I remember who replaced Alice in Chains. Was that was Pretty Reckless? There were a couple bands that like backed out. Three Doors. No, Pretty Reckless replaced Three. Oh, Social D. Okay. So Friday, I'm gonna treat this pretty accurately because I believe I can check Rockville 24's schedule, but I believe when Foo Fighters played, they played like roughly the same amount of time. Let's see Saturday. Why do they have all 3 other days besides Saturday? Oh, actually, here. This looks like it's got all of them. They played about 2 hours, so this is like Green Day's was like an hour 15. So we'll say that the extra 10 minutes was taken off Turnstile, because I don't think Turnstile is going to play for an hour and 20 minutes. Just kind of going off here, I don't think I would go that early in the day. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Sick Puppies, but again, it doesn't like they don't have they don't have their original singer. I don't know why I couldn't blink. I blinked out for so long. And then Tom Morello's not worth going that early. He's not playing Rage songs, and even if he is, it's not going to be Zach, so it's not like it really matters. I think this will be a day for me that I go maybe around like 5 o'clock, catch Drowning Pool, walk around a little bit, catch like Chelsea Grant or Poppy, probably Parkway Drive, and then Offspring. I don't know. I wish somebody other than Lorna Shore. If Seven Dust is playing in this slot, if all these like bands from the garage stage get moved up, which I think is going to happen, I think that I would probably catch Seven Dust over either of these two, but it's kind of hard to say, to be honest. But like I said, Friday I'm not really super excited about. Saturday is the day that I'm struggling with the most, because there's a couple bands on here that I would consider like borderline like must-see bands that is going to like create kind of conflicts for me. The main one, or the main ones that I'm kind of like really not a fan of right now, is there's a bunch of stuff in this area that like I I'm like, man, this is going to be a lot of tough decisions for me anyway, because there's bands on here that I would really like to see, but it's going to just be a matter of like when things line up, and how this kind of looks. So this will be a kind of an early day, I think. I would like to see probably Breathe Carolina, I think, is the first. I'd like to see Red, but I'm not going indoors. Like, that's not happening. They play way too early. Breathe Carolina, probably. This is about the time I was going last year. So that would kind of be, but there's two bands, and I want to see 303. And even though I just saw them, I want to actually this will be a better experience, I think. The problem is for me that I'm kind of dealing with is like this 10 years Biffy Clyro issue on the garage stage. I've been like an avid 10 years fan for like almost 20 years at this point, and I never got to see them, just never lined up. I really like that. They're like I got to see them if they're there type situation. And then Biffy Clyro, like for those who don't know, Biffy Clyro is a Scottish band. They've been around for a really long time, and they're like a really successful overseas. They just never broke the U.S. like that. But I've been a long time listener. I love this band. Like, they're one of my favorite bands of all time. And for me, what I'm looking at now is this conflict with Flyleaf is gonna kill me. Like, this is gonna be super rough because Flyleaf's also one of my favorite groups. I did see them a couple years ago, so I can kind of deal with it if, like, it's a little bit softer of a blow. But then another one is like Apocalyptica, which I've kind of tried to talk some people out of when I talked to my friends, or like when I talked about Sonic Temple, where it's like, well, it'll either be voices off tape, or like, it's not going to be the original. It'll be somebody else singing the songs. But I also want to see Gym Class Heroes. And then like there's all this clutter right here. All of this will be an issue for me, or it's just like all conflicts. And then also, to add on top of that, when I like Black Veil Brides, although they're playing a little early, but like I was really impressed by them at Warped Tour. I haven't listened to Black Veil Brides in probably 10 years. Even longer, I think. Whenever like the Rebel Love Song era was, whatever that album was called, was it Wretched and Divine? Whatever that album was. But like I saw them live, their live show looked amazing. And then now I'm like intrigued by them, but like they probably play too early, where that would be like a factor. But there's a lot of just schedule overlap right here. So like in a perfect world, if the set times line up where like this stage and this stage were in sync, which I don't think is gonna happen. I don't even have my mouse on here. Where this stage and this stage were in sync a little bit more, that'd be kind of cool. Because this, like the garage times and Inferno times, like if they lined up almost exactly, I would really be able to work with that. That would be great. It would be a long walk, but I can make it work. In that case, assuming that'll be a day where I spend a lot of time over here. Unfortunately, it'd be a day where I missed out on Flyleaf, but kind of is what it is. And then I'd like to see Dragon Force, but they're less a priority for me, so I'd like check out Lamb of God. And then Switchfoot, hopefully, like maybe I'll play later, but I doubt it. And then I guess Motionless, this might be a break time for me. And then this is kind of another thing. This is another like thing that I don't like. I really wish that like it would never happen, but I wish like Motionless was closing this stage. Obviously they're on tour with Bring Me the Horizon, but I would like if Motionless would close this stage, so that way I don't have to leave, because I'm gonna have to leave Breaking Benjamin early to get a good to get over to Bring Me the Horizon in time. I've seen Breaking Benjamin twice, so like I guess it's not like really the end of the world. But I'm one of the, they're one of the few bands where their most popular song, the song they're going to close their set with, is the song I still want to see the most. So, like, I want to see Diary, Diary of Jane to be, like, the song that, or a song that I get to hear. But, Breaking Benjamin plays a lot and frequently, so I can kind of, live with it. And I want to get into a good spot for Bring Me the Horizon. So, looking at Breaking Benjamin's set list, though, there is one thing that I kind of like, depending how similar it is. Usually these set lists are pretty accurate. It'll cut like a couple songs out of here, but like there's this pocket kind of later in the show before where they play like Without You and Until the End, which I like Until the End, but I can definitely skip out on it. And then what you can do, what I've done in the past, is you jump over, you like make a run for it then when there's not as many people in the concourse like trying to like all compete to get out of there, and then run over to the other side. And I get to, I'll catch breath on like the big screen over there. Or my other plan really would just be to leave after breath, because I'm not a massive like I will not bow person. Like I like the song, it's a fine song, but it's not like, for me, it's not like like one of the songs I got to see by them, especially, like this point I've seen them a lot. The beginning of this is a very weird set list. This is very strange. Just the way this is all set up. I don't see, okay, no, it's right there. You is a really weird cut for them to play. So Saturday, I wouldn't necessarily mind seeing Simple Plan instead of Breaking Benjamin, but I don't think it would be very likely. Sunday, I kind of talked about it, or I kind of alluded to it a little bit. This day is pretty much all main stage for me. And also, like, there's not really many bands on the side stage I would want to see anyway. I think the only one that I'm kind of like, that sucks, is, like, really Architects and Whitechapel. But Yellow Card is one of my favorite bands ever. Well, I shouldn't say they're, maybe not as a band, but, like, Ocean Avenue is one of my favorite albums ever. And I like hearing all those songs live still. And they play most of them that I still want to hear. And then Rise Against. I've never seen Rise Against. I got to see Rise Against. That's like a priority number one for me. And The Day to Remember is my favorite band. So maybe not singularly favorite band, but they're like in my top 5 favorite bands. So I'm like, I have to see them every chance that I get. That's kind of my mindset, whether that's right or wrong. It doesn't really create any conflicts for me. So, and then My Chemical Romance, which I think everything gets shifted a little bit earlier. I think this schedule will look a little bit more similar to, screw that up. I think the schedule will look a little bit more similar to how Green Day's did last year. I think that they're going to start them at like 9 or like 10:15 instead of they should just start at 10:20. So I guess it shouldn't be that further off. It will really only throw things off by like 5 minutes, because Shaky Knees just had My Chem last year, and originally they had put out the schedule. When they put out the schedule originally, why this keeps doing this? That's not what I wanted to click on either. I don't remember how I fixed it. I don't even really know how I fixed this last time, but kind of look here. Oh, this is not 2025. I mean, I don't want to waste too much time on this. But anyway, when the Shaky Knees schedule came out, it had My Chemical Romance starting at 10:30 originally. Or 9:30 maybe. I actually think it was 9:30 because the festival ends at 11. Whatever. They were going to play an hour and a half slot. And then like the day of the festival, that weekend, they changed it to like move everything up by like 15 minutes. So I think that's more likely what you're going to see. And then like just for reference also, and I talked about this in like Sonic Temple. This is probably what you're going to see I would assume for the most part, is like pretty much the exact same set list. All the Black Parade, and then I'm Not Okay, Helena, Na. That would be my assumption anyway. And like maybe switch out Boy Division for like Thank You for the Venom or whatever. But that would be, like I said, that's kind of what I assume, or what I'm presume, or what I'm thinking the line of, thought would be. So ultimately, like where I kind of settled as far as like hype, I think Friday was a real bummer for. Oh, I should shout out to Sunday fucking Ataris. I'm so mad that they're the first band, but I knew that was what was going to happen, but I'm still really upset about it. I didn't really say to, but like I'll probably go DGD, Under Oath. That might be my break band. Like Coheed, Sleeping with Sirens, All Time Low, Yellow Card. All Time Low is also probably going to be like a water bathroom band, and then kind of just tough out the rest of the night, or try to. They remember though, if their set list is like what their tour is currently, there's a couple holes that I'm like, I can kind of make work. I did that during Linkin Park and Incubus last year. So, the way that their set list is set up right now, which has pretty much been how it is. Like, I could kind of like, get close for these first few songs, after Have Faith in Me, kind of back up, and then, enjoy the rest from a little bit further back. Because also, like, the other thing is, like, with the going back and forth, is you gotta be strategic about relocating. So, like, last year, when I wanted to run from Good Charlotte over to Green Day and get a good spot for Green Day, which actually got a really good spot for Green Day, like, thinking about it now, I backed up, like, I, like, saw the first part of Lifestyles, and then I kind of, like, backed up during Lifestyles, and then I caught the end, like, as I was, like, walking out. So this was, we'll go back to exactly the set list that they played at Warped, just for kind of reference. So, like, I can kind of, stick around for this first little bit, enjoy, these songs, and then, like, other, like, all my friends kind of start to back up, Have Faith in Me, run to the bathroom during this phase, and then, like, as I come back out, just be toward the back, and then, leave. After that, you may even leave before this, and just, like, although I don't know, I'm not really, like, I don't need to be close for My Chem. I've seen My Chem twice. They're really good live, like, don't get me wrong, but not only that, I also, like, the show, or, like, when I saw them the second time, it was a Black Parade show. So, and it was, like, a full production, which I kind of have mixed feelings on, because I watched the Shaky Knees set, and I probably would have rather them just did that, but I also got, like, I got to hear Ghost of You, which I'm almost definitely not going to hear at Welcome to Rockville. I've got lucky, too, because they played Ghost of You both times I've seen them. And that's, like, my favorite song of theirs. It's not, like, one of the big songs. But, like, the first time I saw it here, like, Thank You for the Venom, I saw Boy Division both times. This most recent time they played My Way Home Is Through You, which is, like, the first time, like, they played it since, like, 2008, 2009. They played Bury Me in Black. They played a lot of, like, really deep cuts that were it was super cool to hear. So I'm like, I don't need to be super close for My Chem. I'd still like to be over there for the, like, early part of it. Because I like Dead a lot. That's one of my favorite songs off that album. But, it'll be less of, like, I won't be, like, feel like I'm sprinting. Also, the other kind of thing that I don't want to do for A Day to Remember, or, like, the reason that I'm, like, maybe not, even though I love the band, I don't want to be super close necessarily, is because crowd surfers tend to be more prevalent during A Day to Remember sets. I got kind of burned maybe 2 or 3 years ago whenever they were playing at Rockville, when they played at the same stage. They played at the Octane stage. They played way earlier. They were, like, the third headliner. They played, like, 6 o'clock. And I was over there for, like, almost half the day. I spent, like, I was really only at that stage. Which day was it? Or was it 23? It might have been 23. No, it was 24. Oh, they were the second headliner. I didn't want the schedule. I want set times. So this is another one. I try to, like, bake in a rest day, like, or a day that I take it a little bit easier. This year, though, was rough. Why am I... Okay. Set list, or this website's just a little bit weird to navigate. So I remember I went early because I wanted to see Royal Blood, and then the way it worked out, I was like, I'm just going to get close for A Day to Remember. I don't really... Mammoth's cool. I don't need to see them. I had never seen Stone Temple Pilots, even though it was like, oh, whatever. Like, or they don't have the original singer, but I'd still like to hear the songs live, get to see the original performers of the other instruments and stuff. And then, yeah, see if Inferno and Garage could be lined up just like this, that would be great too. I wanted to see Primus, but I was like, I'll just watch Primus on the screen. And then, so I can get a spot for A Day to Remember. And I got a spot for A Day to Remember, and I spent all my time carrying couch surfers. And I was like, all right, I'm never doing this ever again. So yeah. And then I backed up from A Day to Remember finally. Went to Greta for a little bit, and then I went to Queens of the Stone Age, which is still one of my favorite sets ever. That was such a good time. That was honestly probably the highlight of this weekend. I have really fond memories of this specific year, even though a lot of it didn't go that great, really, in retrospect at all. Or like, I shouldn't say a lot. Like, I shouldn't. Let me put it that way is a little bit dramatic, but like, there were a lot of things that just didn't work out how I was hoping they would. Friday in this year was also another time where it was just weird. Like, as far as like who I want to see and stuff. And then Sunday was also, this was like a Friday and Sunday were kind of weak for me in this specific year. I believe on Sunday, I only saw like 4 bands. I think I saw Atreyu, Sum 41, Breaking Benjamin, and Slipknot. I don't think I really saw anybody else. But like Thursday, I went super early because I wanted to see. Actually, Sunday I also had went the night before. I wanted to see Anthrax and Skillet, so I was there, or Flyleaf too. So I was there super early. I think I got there like 3:00, and it was like mostly good. It was a pretty good day. Mudvayne kind of sucked that year, but then Judas Priest kind of also let me down. Because they like played a really short version of their set list and it cut off like all the like big hits. Like they didn't like. I got to hear "You Got Another Thing Coming," and I got to hear they played all Painkiller, which was their closer. But they ended the set like 5 minutes early, and they didn't play Electric Eye. They didn't play like Hellbent for Leather, and Living After Midnight, or like Victim of Changes, or any of the like big like signature songs. Like it was like I get to hear like Love Bites. It's like it's a good song. It's not a bad song, but it's not what I wanted to hear. Like I say, I got to hear "You Got Another Thing Coming." I got to hear "Panic Attack," which was their new song at the time too. That song was really good. And they'll probably never play it again. So I guess that was cool too. But yeah. It was kind of just my general thoughts. I wasn't really expecting that to go so long or be as organized as it was. That was supposed to be mostly just off the dome, but I guess I hadn't really got to talk about it, so it kind of made it a little bit easier. But that's kind of just unscripted thoughts. I honestly didn't really pay much attention with everything I had going on to like community response. Not that it's necessarily relevant right now, but I know that a lot of people were really upset with this lineup. And I wouldn't necessarily say that I settled there, but I do think that this is going to kind of compete, for me at least, with 2023 as far as like the most, I don't know if underwhelming is even necessarily the right term, but like, I felt anyway, like the things that Sonic Temple did differently, I liked more. And if they had worked out more for, like, if they had worked out more like this, if the lineup looked a little bit more like this, I might be happier. But also at the end of the day, I'm like, I guess I don't know if that's true. Like, so it's just like, either way, like, I still am a little underwhelmed. Like, I think the undercard's deep. Like, and especially like for people who are into deathcore, death metal, this is a really good lineup. Like, probably the best lineup they've had in a couple years at least. I think last year's was pretty good, but I can't make that judgment really for myself. So, and I like, I hate to keep saying but like I like a lot of bands here, and I think the lineup's good. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know why I'm not as excited. Like, I feel like I should be more excited than I actually am. And I probably will be like closer to that day. Cause like realistically, like look at this lineup. It's like, it's got Bring Me the Horizon, Breaking Benjamin, A Day to Remember, Yellow Card, and Rise Against, and My Chemical Romance. Like, it's got all these bands I love. Like, and then like, I get to see Biffy Clyro. I never got to see Biffy Clyro. Although I was hoping that we would get a tour date in Florida, but I'm assuming that's not going to happen now. They've only played in Florida one time, and it was in 2008. So my unfortunate Biffy Clyro story is actually very recent, because I just learned the other day that when I was moving out of New York, like I think like literally like 2 weeks before I moved, they played a show in Syracuse at this really tiny venue, and I looked up the set list, and it was so good. It was just insanely good, and I'm like... That, now I'm like, damn, I retroactively 7 years later, 8 years later, have this, like, I wish I had seen that. But I just was not in the loop at that time. I just was not following concert. I didn't really get into live music until, like, 2019. And then even after COVID, it didn't come back until, like, 22 probably. Maybe like late 21. I think I saw a couple shows at the Amp in 2021. I think I saw like Thomas Rhett. I have my set list history. It's mostly accurate. I've been trying to go back over time. Let me, real quick. Because I have to open Facebook to do this. Like my actual Facebook, not the one that I made for this channel. Can I look here? Yeah. So I saw a lot more in 2025 than I thought I did. 2023 and 4 were definitely like where I saw the most. 2022 was also pretty close. So 21, yeah, I saw. Oh, I remember that. I saw J. Cole. I forgot about that. But like, yeah. So obviously, like, I didn't see anything in 2020. I saw one concert in 2020 before COVID. That was at the Strawberry Festival, which I'm hoping to go back to this year because I want to see The Offspring at the Strawberry Festival. That'd be so cool. And then I remember seeing, I went to 98 Rock Fest. I forgot that year too. All this was in like a month. Like, it was like kind of crazy to look back at now, but I did 3 concerts in a month and then went to the music festival. And that was kind of that year. And then 22 was also a little bit lighter. It kind of picked up. There was a time period here in September. I went to 3 shows in 3 days, and I cannot remember what the third show was. I know there was a third show in here, though. I went to see The Killers, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and then there was a third show. And then it kind of picked up. And also that was the year I went to When We Were Young. So I remember doing it. I even thought that was crazy at the time because that was also Orlando. Like, for me, Orlando was like almost a 2-hour drive. And especially it depends on what time of the day it is, too. That's the other thing. I guess there wasn't a third show. I thought there was a third show. Maybe it was like... oh, you know what I did? Or you know what this is, actually? I had just come back, like, 2 days before from a trip to Nashville. We went to the Country Music Hall of Fame. Yeah. Well, that wasn't why we went. There was a reason. There was a reason why we went. I think maybe see Adam Sandler. I don't know. Anyway, it's not relevant. So yeah, and then 22, that was when I went to When We Were Young also. 23, I definitely saw the most shows. Because, like, this is, like, I saw Garbage. I'm not counting Rockville. Okay, so that was in 2022. I went to Earth Day Birthday. I saw Spirit Box. Because this doesn't count just shows. This is counting, like, every artist. Paramore, Garbage, The Cure, Blink, Yellow Card, Fall Out Boy, Nickelback, Def Leppard. So that's 10. All American Rejects, Offspring, Smashing Pumpkins, Sam Hunt, Census Fail, Three Doors Down, Shinedown, With Papa Roach, Luke Bryan, 1975, Amberlin twice. If you count Amberlin twice, I technically went to 21 shows. And this was 24. Olivia Rodrigo, Fall Out Boy, Say Anything. Oh, I went to see the Ataris, too. They opened for MXPX, but I left after the Ataris. Ocean City Soundtrack. Day to Remember, Red Hot, New Kids on the Block, along with my mom. Third Eye Blind, Armor for Sleep. This was like a mega emo show. It was like, I had like Hawthorne Heights Thursday. Was that 10? I think it was 10. Chicago, Luke Bryan, Creed. No, that was it. So it was 13 or 18. Anyway, I definitely saw the most shows in 23. I scaled back this year. I think I only went to 5 shows. I think I saw Deftones, Metallica, Toto, and then Coheed. Oh, so, My Chem. I went to the 2. So I went to 6 concerts. And then I think I'm only adding like 2. I have to put in here Warped. I have to log that. That's the only thing I'm missing right now. So I didn't do any of my Warped stuff.